Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And here I have Madhu with Revlitix. And without further ado, we would love if you could introduce yourself and what your company does.
Hey, Andy, thanks for having me here. Hi everyone. My name is Madhu. I'm the founder of Revlitix. So, Revlitix is a GTM intelligence platform that helps sales, marketing, and revenue leaders gain 100% visibility, and I should probably say 360-degree visibility on their processes, the performance, and answer all things reporting and intelligence.
So, how did you get started in your career? Like, what led you to launching Revlitix?
Before starting Revlitix, I was working at a high growth startup where I was one of their founding marketers, and the main role I had was to take care of the entire demand gen of marketing side of it, but also use a lot of marketing analytics to figure out where should I spend the dollars, what campaigns are returning the highest ROI, and the standard things that everybody looks for, right?
Right.
And in that process, when we were managing a big budget, it was very critical for me to understand what's happening with the campaigns I'm running. And I tried using a lot of BI tools out there. None of them sort of helped me gain that visibility because data was dispersed. And then there was no other tool that I could find that could sort of solve this problem. So I ended up building Google Sheets as my main data warehouse and used all the data that comes in there and then visualize that using some Looker Studio, some aspects, right? So that's like how it started. And then slowly I evolved into like a revenue role where I started doing the same processes for like sales, marketing, customer success. And then we added more AI capabilities back then when AI was not so known, and a lot of predictive capabilities to it. But everything was built completely out of Google Sheets and Looker and some scrappy scripts, right? So
Yeah.
that was the origin of what Revlitix was. And and then the 4 years later, we quadrupled our revenue, exited the company for about $400 million, and that's when I started Revlitix to sort of provide this end-to-end platform to everybody out there who could probably leverage this to gain more visibility and help their decision-making processes from a GTM point of view.
Cool. Sounds like it started as a real MVP.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are some of the key features, I guess, that Revlitix has that marketers could take advantage of?
So a lot of them, but I would say two very critical features I would talk about is purely from a visibility point of view is the reporting. I know everybody says, hey, reporting is just so common and every company has it. And nowadays native CRMs have it, right? But they're actually not really good. They're very limited to the data source they're connected to. For example, I'll just give you a simple that you can now connect your Google Ads to your Salesforce and instantly build a report saying, hey, what's my Google Ads cost per MQL? What's my revenue per the amount of dollar I'm spending? What's my CAC payback period for Google Ads? This is like a very simple example.
Yeah.
And you can't do that is because your everything from middle of the funnel data to bottom of the funnel lives in Salesforce or whichever CRM you're using, and everything top of the funnel lives in Google Ads. You can't measure influence. You can't sort of tie that performance to revenue. And we can do all of that. And there's a lot of data warehousing, data normalization processes that happens. From a reporting point of view, we can connect these dots from multiple places, same channel, different channel, and give very specific metrics that you're looking for, which is tailored for your businesses, that marketers can use to understand ROI of the campaigns, influence of the campaigns. Sales folks can understand the performance of their sales teams, be it the input metrics, output metrics. So reporting happens to be our key feature, very, very advanced, very custom and tailored to each organization. And the second is we add a lot of predictability and auditing to that, where we can sort of allow you, and you can sort of, it's a DIY process where you can go build alerts for yourself saying, hey, when something happens, let me know. You can ask questions to our report saying that, hey, am I going to hit my MQL goal this number, or am I going to hit my sales quota this month, right? And our models can very accurately predict your performance, your KPIs, and tell you, are you on track, off track? If you're off track, why exactly are you off track? What are
Yeah.
the areas you need to focus on? So it comes with a lot of like optimization, auditing, and recommendation engine that's built in the reporting engine as well.
Yeah, so a lot of marketers, I feel like they kind of keep everything in a silo and they don't really have that visibility. So, like you mentioned, Google Ads is kind of performing in its own silo. Then you might have email marketing over here. So I feel like a lot of marketers don't do a very good job, tying all those channels together and then properly attributing in any of the MQLs that they're getting from all their campaigns combined. Whereas maybe somebody might see an ad and maybe they come in later through some other channel and sign up for your platform, right?
Absolutely. So we do, the main feature is around reporting, but that in the reporting, we also help you build influence reports. We also build attribution reports. We also help you build cross-channel reports where you're connecting finance data directly to your marketing spend. So everything Revlitix can be used for all these things.
CEOs got to like that because the marketers are known for just spending money without being able to show measurable ROI.
Yeah, I mean, I don't deny that, but I'll just correct one thing that actually marketers don't do that. I mean, me being a marketer, I could be a bit more defensive about it, but so marketers really want to show ROI, right? It's just that they're just doing so many things and reporting is just so complicated and they don't have enough resources. It just becomes very difficult for them to do all these things manually, right? That's where a tool like us could help, where everything is completely automated. Because every marketer, every CEO, every CRO, VP sales we have spoken to who use Revlitix, everybody wants to know answers to these questions. It's just that they don't have access to certain tools or resources, or maybe the time to actually go and do these things, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I was just being self-deprecating as a marketing person myself, but totally, most marketing people do, obviously they're in the business of getting ROI, but like you said, a lot of times they're stretched thin. They don't have the time for it. Maybe they lack the visibility, and you guys have a big focus on 360-degree GTM visibility. So you guys, that's kind of your main selling point, I think, is that you give them that full visibility into how their marketing efforts are combining to get them the end results and ROI that they're actually looking for.
Yep, absolutely. And it's just not with marketing, right? So we primarily serve three types of customers, which is on the marketing side, where of course they want to understand campaign influence, campaign performance, reporting, every single thing. Then we also work with a lot of RevOps folks who are primarily responsible for all sales and revenue reporting and revenue visibility, right?
Yeah.
Like most companies that use a product from a sales point of view, they actually use some of our famous like scorecard reports, or they use our pipeline funnel, which does like a full funnel forecasting of just on a high level, give you information like, hey, here are certain input metrics that has to go in to deliver your output, right? You can't just randomly walk in and be like, hey, how do I 3x my pipeline, right?
Yeah.
For you to 3x your pipeline, you need to know, okay, how much demos do I need to do? What should be my conversion rate? How many emails do I need to send? How many calls does a rep need to make? Out of those calls, how many of them have to have higher quality connects? How many of them should probably go to watchman? So these are the input metrics
Yep.
that go into generating the 3x pipeline, right? And that is also a very generic term because the pipeline varies by different channel, by different territory, by different persona, industry, geography.
Yep.
We can break all those things down and give you a very, very detailed view of, hey, if you want to do this is what you need. And every single thing we're going to tell you is purely based on your own data and industry benchmarks,
Yep.
right? So it's CRM intelligence, it's your other channels, you connect Gong outreach, we combine all of that and serve this very specific insights in a silver platter.
Yeah, I feel like the silo issue is a really big problem with a lot of companies. So they have a lot of data across many different departments, even for that matter. So essentially, you guys want to help them break down those silos and kind of bring all that data together. Any tricks or advice that you would have for companies to be able to do that, or it sounds like they can just sign up for Revlitix and use you guys to kind of shortcut that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, Revlitix is the easiest and the fastest, and of course, the most efficient way to do that, right? That gives them most bang for the buck. But I've seen some companies also do a DIY thing, and we're completely, we encourage that as well. That if you can build that yourself, just the way I built it in the previous organization, hats off to you. So ideally, the way you'll have to probably do it is people, when they start thinking of data silos, they just think of business intelligence tools, right? But they don't realize that BI is just the visualization aspect, right? There's a lot of things that happens before you need to visualize your data. You need to, first normalize the data. You need to like filter the garbage out, because garbage in, garbage out is, again, nobody's going to use it.
Yep.
So filtering garbage out, normalizing the data. There are very specific KPIs that you have to build, which is relevant to your organization. So it could be custom metrics, custom dimensions. So all these things happens in the data orchestration layer. So what people try to do is they don't do the data orchestration layer.
Yep.
They just directly jump to BI, and everything's a mess, and then the numbers don't match and they don't use it. So that's exactly what we do, where we combine the BI side of it, but we also take care of the data orchestration side of it. So that way we complete it. So if somebody wants to do it themselves, we recommend that they purchase like a data warehouse
Mhm.
where they'll have to build connectors to these data warehouse where they dump all their cross-channel data into a data warehouse, right? Could be from ads to email campaigns to sales data, every single thing. Now they have to write code or some scripts to normalize the data, to stitch them so that every single thing lies in one place. And then they have to start writing custom code to build their KPIs, custom metrics, custom formulas that they want to use to normalize that data, right? Once all these things is done, when you massage the data, then it is ready for an output, and then you can use that to visualize the data, build very specific charts. But
Mhm.
again, the problem here is BIs don't allow to build you specific types of charts, which is why everybody just uses a Google sheet where they can just
Uh,
easily enter a number they want in a cell and it works, right? So this entire process has to be automated. It has to be predictive, because you need to know that you're gonna hit or miss your numbers before you do that. There's no point of you knowing that after you've missed it, right?
yep.
So it has to be like automated, it has to be predictive, and it has to be easy to like build and operate, because always some new source of data is coming in. So somebody wants to do it, like there is no easy trick, but that's the way to do it, where they have to have a data orchestration layer with a layer of data warehouse connecting the data sources, augment with a layer of AI, finalize the data, then use a BI or equivalent tool to sort of build the reports. So that still solves just the visibility part, but it still doesn't solve for predictability. It doesn't solve for forecasting. It doesn't solve for like generative AI use cases like identifying recommendations and
Mhm.
summarizing for your board slides, right? So these are something that we already have built in natively. But I know it's a long answer, but that's
Great
that's
answer.
how somebody can try if they want to do it themselves.
Yeah, for a lot of people, they get a lot of data, but they don't know how to make sense of it, right? They just kind of becomes a data dump at some point, right? And
Mhm.
you could have a lot of data, but if it's not, if you're not getting any value out of it or figuring out any trends from that data, you're not, it doesn't really even matter in the first place, right? So I guess what advice would you have for companies to be able to make more sense of the data that they do have and be able to extract value from it?
So first thing you have to do is you have to start identifying certain patterns in your data, right? So that's the most important thing. The visibility or these insights are not gonna appear magically. So you have to first figure out, hey, what's the right way to dissect the data? How do I form different segments? What are the right combination of segments, right?
Mhm.
And usually when you talk about insights, it's always a time series pattern, right? You see that, hey, did this happen last year? Did that happen the year before that? Did that happen a month before that? I mean, whatever the time series is, right? So
Mhm.
you need to start plotting the data in different versions to even figure out that is there a pattern that exists, just even for a simpler insights, right? From a seasonality point of view, from a business trend point of view. Now, the problem here is each business has their own unique patterns. It's not a one insight that fits for all. So for that, you need to do a lot of research and go. And the easy way to do that is you can leverage AI to identify these patterns, which can instantly read millions and millions of rows and data points
Mhm.
and quickly like start plotting like graphs internally to figure out that, hey, what are things that actually work and seem to work every year based on a certain pattern, right? So some insights can be that, some insight could be a one time thing, but again, everything starts purely from how you dissect your data. And when you say dissect your data, you have to think of what time frame do you look at, what segments do you bring that down to, what channels do you want to add, what channels do you want to combine, what categories you want to exclude. So there's like a lot of if and but, and it's a lot of trial and error. So for a manual person to do that, it's going to take a lot of time. But if they want to leverage AI or their specific tools like Revlitix, we can sort of do that within like a few hours for them.
Yeah, so you guys have a lot of tools. You guys utilize AI in your platform itself to kind of identify these trends and do the analysis for you.
Absolutely. So we have a in-house data science team that specifically is built an algorithm which can go and learns. And again, I should not say this, but I'm just going to give it away. Where so the way our model works is we have like a master and a child concept, where a master model is a more generic model which works for everyone and is pretty much the same. But there's a child model which is very unique for each customer. And that's also the reason why our models are so much better is, so we have a combination of your own data as well as a generic combination which works together as a master and child model, where the insights that come out are very specific to you because it is very specifically derived from your data and also surface level industry data, right? So it's not like one model and any customer you pick, the insights recommendations are different because the data is different, the KPIs are different, the business requirements are different. So to answer your question, yes, there's a lot of data science that goes in behind all these models that sort of help us deliver these insights.
And helps people so they don't have to live within their spreadsheet at all times. They could have the AI do a lot of analysis.
Absolutely. I'm very confident that if they start using Revlitix, or even if they see it, like, you're gonna not 100%, like 101% move away from spreadsheets, some random PDF, Google Docs, because everything's just gonna live in one single platform for complete visibility.
Yeah, and you guys probably have network effects too, right? So, I mean, you anonymize the data, of course, but you're probably able to use your artificial intelligence to identify trends maybe across, many types of clients, right? If you work with a lot of software companies, you might be able to identify, larger trends there that you could suggest or apply to individual clients. Is that right?
Absolutely. So, 100% from a security point of view, nobody has access to the complete data or any data in terms of what the data says. Everything is completely anonymized. And even that scenario, from a training point of view, it's actually a customer's choice, where if they want us to use the data to sort of find some relevant insights from similar companies, or do they want to completely stay anonymous and not use their data for training, right? So they decide to do that. But yes, we have the capability where we can fetch information based on similar customer bases, so that we can tell them, hey, we're seeing some pattern emerge like this for them, or similar customer, and this might happen for you as well. So maybe you should check these three things, or maybe we should set up an alert for these three things, so that if you see them going down by, let's say, 3% or 5%, then we'll instantly alert you, right? So these sort of recommendation engines can easily be built with our platform.
Oh, wow, that's really powerful, especially for earlier stage companies too. A lot of times they're operating, very blindly in terms of, what actually is working in their marketing before they end up wanting to scale something and dump more money into customer acquisition. So tools like this come in to be very powerful. I'm sure for large organizations too, right? They're always looking to optimize and, make sure that they're getting the most bang for the buck in their marketing spend and everything's working as it should.
Absolutely. So if I have to just break that down, I would say 75% or about 80% of our customers are like with 10 million and above revenue, right? So these are, you can say, like mid-market companies, because they have large enough data. They can actually, they have large enough data for us to help them identify, bring them this visibility. One thing we've also noticed that anyone with less than 10 million, or preferably around 5 million and below, they usually don't have a extensive internal marketing or a sales team. At least in the marketing side, they outsource it to an agency, right? So agencies sort of work for them. So they actually still use a product, but with the agencies, because they know how to use the products much better. So to answer your question, our product is actually more relevant for a mid-market customer with 10 million and above in revenue, who's spending at least, let's say, $500,000 a year on like marketing, and have like a good sales team, because that brings us a lot of information. And that's where you start seeing blind spots, right? Because when the team is small, the spend is small, everything is small, there's barely few blind spots that emerge. But when there are like a larger teams, larger processes, there's a lot of process gap, there's a lot of performance gap. That's where you start seeing these blind spots. And our models and visibility reporting can instantly identify where these blind spots are. So even like turning the knob by a bit can see significant results in their marketing performance, or in their sales quota achievement, or just purely from a time consuming point of view, right? Like, we save them so much time.
Yep. And what could companies do, I guess, before they're ready for Revlitix? I guess if there's early stage, you had a couple points earlier about, maybe you do use a spreadsheet at least initially. So when you're ready for it, Revlitix is there. What tips do you have for like maybe an early stage company that wants to make sure that they're not having these blind spots, I guess, in their go-to-market?
I would say if someone's early stage, like the CRM native reporting will help only to an extent, or the native reporting you see on, let's say, respective platforms like Google Ads, Gong, Outreach, whatever. But the moment you start growing quickly, you need to start understanding how things work together, right? So what's the right amount of Google Ads with outreach emails to Gong calls to your CRM data, so it should come together. So initially, I would say Google Sheets is or Excel is still like the best recommendation that I would say for them. Probably like ask your team if you have a RevOps person or any ops person like marketing ops, sales ops, ask them to learn Google App Script. So that's really, really helpful. You can use that to instantly fetch and connect all your data inside a Google Sheet. And with that, you can start building very specific reporting. But that's only like from a reporting point of view. And it's also not very scalable because Google Sheets has certain limitation. But that is still really good enough for them to get started purely from what's working for them, right? So learn App Script, put that in Google Sheets, and don't have to worry. You don't need any prior coding knowledge, especially if you know how to use Chat GPT. It'll generate the entire code for you. You can just copy paste. We also give away some free app scripts on our website. So if you go to revlitix.com and you can just download any of them, just copy paste the data and it'll start working for you, completely free. So you can start that from an early stage point of view.
That's very helpful. And you mentioned marketing agencies. Do you guys have any sort of like a white label product for agencies that maybe work with a lot of clients with their go-to-market that might, white label Revlitix and bring that to their clients? Maybe.
100%.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so we do have it. We have a lot of agencies who use a product, white label it. We provide extensive details where from the URL of the product to the logo to the text that goes in, they can sort of change everything. They have full control, and they can switch between different customers. They can allow them to access, and they don't have to worry about storing the data. Any of that, everything is taken care by us. But yes, 100% white labeling option is available for agencies if they want to leverage a platform.
That's powerful. So I guess we've all heard horror stories of missed opportunities because of the poor visibility, like we talked about. I guess, do you have any like general examples or stories from your experience? Not naming names of companies, but we'd love to hear any stories about companies that were maybe missing a huge opportunity and then found out about it later. And I guess, what's one thing you'd recommend for teams to avoid any of these types of situations?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, the reporting visibility, what happens is you don't know what you don't know, right? So that's the most important thing that I have observed in some companies when we started working with them, where they didn't know that there could be a layer of insights that they could find with the current reporting that they have, or even with our product. So that's something that I've seen happen all the time, where everybody is data rich today, right? Everybody has a lot of data. It's just that it takes a lot of amount of time for you to connect those data together. So
Yep.
most companies, irrespective of them being a customers or not, when we initially sat on a demo with them to show the product, mainly to first understand what they're currently doing, nobody understands the data orchestration layer. That's the biggest problem,
Yep.
because every time it's just thinking that, hey, you need dashboards. People are so focused on building a dashboard, and which is important, but they're
Yeah.
not focused on figuring out what the underlying data is. And we've worked when we have done a demo with early stage startups to companies doing close to $1 billion in revenue. Nobody has clean data. Like, if you think that this problem goes away as you grow, it doesn't. It just becomes worse,
Yep.
right? So for you, figuring out the data hygiene layer and figuring out what we call as the data orchestration layer is the most important thing, and that's your biggest blind spot.
Yep.
And you could use a product like us, or you have to have someone internally who knows in and out of what are the different schemas of how data's come in, how do they interact with each other, how you're supposed to connect. So that's the biggest blind spot that we have seen. Literally every single company, that they don't do that, they just skip that step and they go to the next step, and it's just a blunder, right? And the
Yep.
second thing, an obvious, and very, very obvious thing that, and you don't even need analytics for this, but I'm just saying everybody should do it, is set up these simple alerts on Slack or just email, right? Where you don't have to log into a dashboard and look at a report to find out that something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a direct number always, right? It could be like a trend of things going down, right? You could just write very simple scripts which are completely free. You can use ChatGPT for it. You don't need coding language or anything for that, which you can deploy on any of your products or on Google Sheets, saying that, hey, when my 7-day average, my 30-day average for my MQLs are going down or goes down below 5%, 10%, give me an alert. I mean, that's a very simple example. Same thing can happen with like your ad spend. Same thing could happen with your quality score in your Google Ads, right? Things like that, where that's another problem, because everybody is just buried in so many reports and dashboards
Yep.
that they don't even know what to look at, right? And when things go south and suddenly somebody finds out that, hey, we overspent by 30% and we actually got lesser conversions, and they start going in a rabbit hole to figure out why. Then they realize that, oh, the report just like, told us everything, we just didn't look at it, or we didn't understand the right way. So setting up these very simple audits to tell you that, hey, these things are happening, and just give you an alert, right? Because you're not going to stare at a report 24/7.
Yep.
You're going to be do a lot of execution thing. The report is just to analyze the results of performance. So when that happens, you should directly get alerted for, rather than you having to go every day and find that needle in the haystack.
Yeah, I think that happens to a lot more people than they realize.
Absolutely.
We set up a lot of key alerts too within our company, and I got to tell you, they've been really helpful.
Mhm.
When a transaction happens, or like you said, like if a metric gets out of range, you could immediately identify it. Say you launch
Exactly.
a campaign, and you're overspending on it already. You want to go
Yeah.
shut the thing down before you're looking at it maybe even days later, and you
Yeah.
realize that you spent a bunch of money and didn't acquire any new customers from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the easiest thing to do, right? You don't need any tool for this, and please don't buy any tool for this. I would recommend we have some free resources you can use, and if anybody wants to know, I'm more than happy to sort of help them out. You can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can guide you on that. You can just set this up, irrespective of the stage of the company. You could be early stage, you could be like mid market, enterprise customer. Everybody can do this with the existing set of tools and some scripts that they have. And this itself should easily give you like a 30% lift in your performances, your processes, and just to double tap on the process, right? It's not only about understanding if KPIs deviate. It's also like simple rules to tell that, hey, an opportunity was created and these four fields were left empty, right?
Yeah.
You can even just write a very simple alert for that, right? You can just directly send that to your sales rep or get it. Or it could be like an opportunity was created where the opportunity amount was missing, or the forecast definition was missing, or whatever it is, right? Anything, everything that you want to add, you can add that. Just these small fixes for your process gaps will see you like at least a few percentage point change in your performance. And it's completely free, so it's an unlimited ROI there, because you're not spending anything for it. And if you just implement these things, you'll see a sudden lift in your performance across the board.
That's great. Where can people get these features and app integrations from? You mentioned on your website.
Oh, I can drop a link and maybe that you can share. But so you can find this on our website, or you can also just ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to just DM you all the links. That's also fine.
Great. Okay. Yeah, those you guys are on top of it. That sounds really helpful. I guess if a company wants to take their go-to-market strategy from good to great, what area should they focus on first? What's kind of like an easy fix for most companies if they're looking to fix their go-to-market strategy?
I would say it depends on the stage of the company they are, and if you're like a pre-revenue, it varies. If you're like 0 to 1 journey, 1 to 10 journey, so the way to fix the GTM strategy varies across the board and type of the company they are. The first thing is to first find out that what's working and what's not working, and it's so much more easier to find out what's not working, right?
Mhm.
So the first thing you have to do is eliminate things that are not working for you. So forget about reporting, forget about things. Just open a Google Sheet or any document. Write down things you're doing from a GTM point of view. Write down how much have you spent, how much have you earned from it. What's the ROI? Just a basic math. It doesn't have to be accurate. Just writing these things down across. This is probably like one thing which will work for any company of any size. Will tell you that, hey, here are like four things out of like seven things I've tried that are not working.
Mhm.
Immediately stop that. Right now, there might be some scenarios where you might have some things that may be working, may not be working. You don't know, so you can probably toggle it a bit here and there to see. But the shortcut is to just stop what's not working, and you keep doing that till you reach a point where you have very few things that are not working, and eventually everything else is working for you.
Mhm.
That's how it start. That's like easier way to start understanding the focus points. Now, once you understand the focus points, there are two scenarios, right? You have things that are working, then you have to figure out how do you do more of it. And there are things that are not working, and then you realize how you do less of it, right?
Yeah.
So then you go more deeper and finding out if you want to do more of it, then what are things you can do? How do you scale it up? Then you go and sort of start segmenting the data, start realizing that on a high level, this campaign seems successful, but when you double down 3 layers deep, you'll realize that it is particularly this program and this campaign that's driving most conversions, right? So then you double down by just increasing more spend to that. So that's how you sort of figure out. Now, the other side, when you want to figure out what's not working, you again do the same process to realize that what actually is driving the entire thing down. And you completely shut that off and you give others some chance. So this is just the framework. I wouldn't say this is like a strategy. This is more like a framework that you can apply on your sales process. You can apply on your marketing campaigns, on your RevOps processes, pipeline forecasting. So this gives you 5 different focus points that you can look at on how you can improve or not do some things which will impact your top line or bottom line.
Yeah, I think the framework's really important, though. You got to have a starting point. From a philosophical standpoint, I guess everything kind of drills down from there. So I guess what's next for Revlitix, and what should people be excited about this year? Any new features that you're launching?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know the agents has been the talk of the town lately, and everyone's just focusing a lot on agents. So, of course, we are launching our own intelligence agent, where when you like the biggest problem we have understood from our existing customers is they do not want to upload their data in chat gpt or Claude or whatever, right? Because it is sensitive information. And it's and mostly what it does is just summarizes your data, right? It doesn't analyze, it just summarizes your data. That's the
Yeah,
biggest problem. So you can't upload, security reasons. Second is it just gives you a summary, doesn't analyze and give you recommendations.
yeah,
These are the exact 2 problems that we're solving with our intelligence agent, which is going to launch in mid-February. So probably it's going to go live. It's already live for some of our beta
nice.
customers. We're going to make it live for the public in mid-February or end of February, where not only can you ask questions saying that, hey, find out which marketing campaign or which Google Ads campaign delivered the most revenue. So now our intelligence agent know that you're specifically referring to Google Ads, but it also knows how you can tie this to your CRM data and find out that what is the revenue that was influenced or directly contributed by Google Ads. So it will internally go stitch the data, it will show you the process, it will also give you the answer, right? And then you can also ask things like, should I spend more on this campaign or this campaign? Should I send email A or B? Should I allocate these type of leads to rep A or rep B or TMA or TB? It can actually think like a human,
Yeah,
asking itself multiple questions, answering all those for you, helping you identify a root cause, saying why you should do certain things, all while keeping your data secure,
wow.
all while not sharing your data with any LLM, completely by de-anonymizing it and completely being secure. We're like SOC 2 type 2, completely secure. So yeah, this is like the one of the biggest announcements is going to come out in the next few weeks. But yeah, looking forward to sharing that with the world.
Glad to hear about it. Yeah, you guys are really dialed in over there. It sounds like yeah, exciting features you guys have coming, and actual applicable, practical use, I guess, for AI. I've seen
Mhm.
some AI products and features out there that, you know, they're nice to have, but you don't necessarily need them. But it sounds
Yeah.
like what you guys are doing is something that people need today. It's directly relevant. So I guess where can people learn more about Revlitix and pick up your product today?
Absolutely. Just feel free to go to revlitix.com. That's revlitix.com. And you'll probably see all the information there. If you want to like know more about it, you can also hit me up on LinkedIn. I can maybe drop my LinkedIn URL on the chat. More than happy to like talk to more people about it and get their thoughts on it. But yeah, that's probably the 2 aspects that you can talk about. And if you'd like to learn more, you can also email us at marketing@revlitix.com. I've also added the link to the website in the chat. If people are interested, they can look at it. But yeah, these are different ways that you can reach out to us.
Very excited. Well, yeah, we're excited to be partners with you guys. We look forward to growing together. Love what you guys are working on over there. Also, you can find Revlitix in the NachoNacho B2B SaaS marketplace. We always have the best products. So of course we have Revlitix there as well. Madhu, thank you so much for coming on today. We look forward to continuing to work with you guys.
Likewise, thanks for having me, Andy. Take care. Bye.
All right.